Hi guys, welcome back to another video. For all of my returning subscribers, thank you. And for everyone that's new, I'm Felicia. And this video is a part of the series of Finding Ourselves. We did just a broad overview of finding ourselves in general. This video is about finding yourself when you feel trapped in a dead-end job. The second video will be finding yourself when you feel you've lost yourself in motherhood. And then the final one will be finding yourself after divorce or breakup. So in today's video, we're going to talk about like ways of finding yourself when you feel that you're trapped in a dead-end job. And by a dead-end job, I just mean something, or a job or career where you feel like you've kind of either hit the ceiling, or you can't grow, or it just doesn't match up with your strengths and your talents, gifts and talents. So number one, I think it's really important to identify that it's not them, it's you. Ouch. I know, right? That really kind of stings. But the truth of the matter is that we have to remember whenever because I'm still an employee too, whenever we're working as an employee, we're working for a company that was built based upon someone else's dreams, goals, and visions. So like, that's not your company. So of course you're not gonna, you probably won't agree with everything that the company does, but you just have to remember, that this is someone else's goal, and like, you're helping to fulfill their goal and their vision. I think that sometimes we choose jobs based out of like desperation or fear, or even out of necessity, and that's okay. Like, there's really nothing wrong with that, but just remember that we really are helping someone else's dream come true. And in some ways that's quite fulfilling. But I know a lot of entrepreneurs, you kind of find yourself like you just kind of feel stuck or trapped. Number two, I think it's important that one way that you can find yourself whenever you're working in a job that isn't completely fulfilling you is to take the time and identify, like make a list either in your phone or on pen and paper, and just make a list of the things that you really love about your job, and then also make a list of things that you're not that crazy about. And I think it's important to identify this, because whenever we go on to advance to a different position or to a different company, we really need to know that about ourselves. I know, like for me, for example, when I worked as a rehab director, I love the teaching and the coaching part, and I also loved like metrics and finances. Like, I really love that part. But what I didn't like was the micromanagement. Like, I realized I'm not a good micromanager. If I ever switched jobs or did anything else, I would definitely find out like how much of that would be required of me, because I just know that for me personally, it doesn't feel good. Three, I think that it is really important to play to your strengths. Now that we've created that list and we've identified things that we're really good at and the things that we're not so crazy about, I think that one way to find your happiness and find yourself within a job, especially if you are not in a position to leave right now, like you need to be there for financial reasons or for whatever reasons, I think it's important to play to those strengths that we've identified in step number two. For instance, with me, whenever I had the opportunity to do like in services or presentations or anything to that sort, I loved it. I volunteered. I was the first one to say, hey, I'll do it. Whenever there's an opportunity for me, like for instance with my metrics, I had to do a lot of different reports and so forth, and the creative part of me, like I would find a way to combine the two. For instance, my charts and my reports were probably a little bit more colorful than they should have been, but it was the way that it made me happy to look at them and see how nice and organized they were and how detail oriented, and that made me happy. I think it's really important to bring value to the team. I think that like, don't, just because you're not happy, don't be a Cancer. And sometimes people kind of do that, like they go in and they're grouchy, and everyone doesn't need to know that you don't want to be there. I think that it's really important to just kind of like play to your strengths, and the things that you love, do more of that. I think the fourth and final thing is to find the blessing in the lesson. I think we have all worked places before where it just wasn't for us, but I'm definitely one of those people where, I told you guys before, I'm a Christian, and in my prayer time, I do believe in like asking God, like, why am I here? What is your purpose? You know, use me in whatever way that you see fit. And just to give an example from my last job, you know, the friendships that I gained and the people that I met, like that, I totally needed that, and I needed them in my life moving forward. Even like financially, you know, my job was a blessing for me, because even though I took a pay cut, working with the metrics and budgets for a huge organization really kind of fine-tuned me and helped me to realize, like, yo, you know, you need to run your personal finances the way that you do for this company. And you know, that helped me to be able to get out of debt and pay off tons and tons of student loans. So always look for the blessing in the middle of that, you know. Like I mentioned before, you know, working as a manager, it really showed me and taught me ways into how to be a leader. Just working with other women in management, that was really good for me to see women that were in places that, you know, at one point I thought that that's where I wanted to be. But I do know that there are aspects about those women that I really appreciated, you know, how they were. But being able to watch how they were as leaders and managers, you know, whenever I eventually have a huge company of my own, there are so many aspects of these women that I would like to bring into my business, and just being there really helped me to identify that. And also, when I was preparing my notes for this video, I just realized, you know, there's so much gratitude, and I think even in our worst situations, we should always be able to find a way to be grateful. And like, this is my new backyard. So without that job, I don't know. I just remember I would have moments where I felt so stressed out, and I would go for walks, and we would actually walk by this neighborhood, you know, and I would just talk and pray to God, and it just created me. I started to say things like, gosh, you know, I'm so stressed out. I would love to have a backyard where I can come and like sit out and look at the water. You know, had I not been stressed out, had I been really happy at that time in my life, like, is this something that I would have desired? I don't know. And had I not been at that company and taken that pay cut, would I have still been spending money like crazy? I don't know. And also too, I have so much gratitude because, like I mentioned before, the people that I met there, oh my gosh, they just inspire me in so many ways. Not just the women, like everyone in general. My clinicians, they reminded me of why I became a PT in the first place. And also too, I just want to say, you know, as I mentioned before, in every situation, find gratitude. There's always something to be thankful for. And just, even though you're probably not really happy right now, just be thankful that you have a job that allows you to feed your family, to put food on the table. You know, you have a job, find opportunities for you to grow. Just find ways to make the best out of the situation regardless. And also too, by working in the position that I did, even though I temporarily took a pay cut, it allowed me to have more experience and to come out and be even more marketable now, because I now know and understand how the business runs from the clinical side, which I've always known that, but now I also have an understanding from the administrative side. And for anyone that works in healthcare, that is a bonus. You know, being able to understand the billing aspect and why things are done the way they're done, yeah, gives me more clarity too. And so I just want to give you that piece of advice. Please just try to find the joy in whatever situation you're in. If you don't like it, find ways to build yourself up on the side, but just be sure that you contribute value back to that organization, and be good to the people that you're around. Make friendships. Always show up giving your best, giving your all regardless. I definitely think that when it's time for you to move on, God will give you insight on it. But that's all I have for you guys today.